This is the Toronto Maple Leafs, and last season for them ended in a way that hockey fans have seen over and over and over again. Despite the team and its core group of players having solid regular season success, the failure to do it when it matters the most in the playoffs have created unshakable narratives surrounding the organization. Playoff chokers, too soft, overpaid, whatever it is, none of it goes away until they actually have playoff success. So, heading into the season, the Leafs finally made a change. A brand new coach with a style of play tailor-made to emulate playoff success has given them a solid chance to win the Atlantic Division for the first time in the Matthews era. But is this year truly any different? Or is this just setting up another familiar end to what we've seen for years? Let's take a deeper look. When Sheldon Keefe was fired at the end of last season, it was clear that the Leafs wanted to shift their identity as a team. So, bringing in Craig Berube, the organization and coach made it clear that this team was going to play a more north-south style of play that was going to translate into more playoff success. And while that promise remains to be seen, that style in the regular season has made the Leafs look like a more complete team. First, let's start with offense. With how this roster is constructed, this has been the Leafs' strong suit for years. In the 23-24 regular season, the Leafs ranked second in the NHL in terms of goals for per game. Yet, the offense dropped off a cliff in the playoffs, with them being dead last out of the 16 teams that made it. Craig Berube made it clear when he joined the Leafs that he didn't want to take the sticks out of the skilled players' hands, but he did want them to play with an identity and a north-south aggressive style of play. Now, perhaps the best example of this is, funny enough, in a game against Boston earlier in the year where the Leafs' top dogs of Matthews, Marner, and Nyes got a combined 13 points. First goal, Mitch Marner off the rush, and the Bruins got solid numbers back, so no need to force it. Chip it in and get to work. Marner stays as the F1. He shows us that you don't need to be big to be useful on the forecheck. His stick angles McAvoy to put the puck along the boards, and he finishes his hit. No more flybys here. The puck goes to Matthews as the F3 lurking in the weeds. He throws it on net. Matty Nyes leaves a tip on the doorstep. Keep the change. Off the rush, too, Toronto keeps that same direct north approach. It's a 2-on-2. Nyes goes to Tavares to isolate this D-man and make it a mini 2v1. The Leafs do want to eliminate some of that east-west silly nanny bullshit, so Nyes is going to keep the legs pumping north and provide support off the heels. He gets Carlo hitting the air, and it's a tidy finish. That is the Leafs using their skill to complement their directness off the rush. That's the blend and identity the Leafs want to create. Calculated skill with extreme tenacity, and this goal is all of it in one. Like Berube said, he didn't want to take the sticks out of the hands of the talent, so instead of dumping it in, Matthews gets a controlled zone entry and dishes it to Nyes, who is going to keep that puck moving north. Matthews, as the F1, gets cheeky and avoids the preemptive stick check from McAvoy. He gets underneath, body positioning, McAvoy gets pickpocketed like he's spending a week in Europe, and the eyes get up for Matthews, and it's Nyes with the finish again. So far, Berube has been successful when creating an identity with this team. Whether it's the first or fourth line, they want to get in on the forecheck, have layers of pressure, retrieve 50-50 pucks, and get them on net. That's how Toronto will want to translate their forecheck when it matters most in the playoffs. And one player who's actually thrived under this system is Mitch Marner. Yes, the player who Leaf fans wanted exiled after last year's playoffs is flirting with being top 5 in points in the NHL. As we've seen already, Marner's anticipation and positioning can turn Toronto's forecheck into a dangerous opportunity in a split second. His IQ allows him to be effective in every role on the forecheck. Here, the Leafs get the puck north again, and as the F1, watch him cut off this breakout pass by literally getting air to stop Shesterkin from the clear. The F2 and Matthews swallows it up. It's a bang-bang play, and in the back of the net she goes. As the F2 or F3, Marner has the anticipation to frequently cut off breakout passes and be a disruptor to create a turnover. All of a sudden, Marner's anticipation off the forecheck is putting him in really dangerous spots to use his skill. When you have a player as cerebral as Marner, his positioning alone can create chaos off the forecheck. Now, what is interesting is that the Leafs offense as a whole is down this season, but that's because they are trimming the risk out of their game on the rush. According to Mike Kelly on Twitter, the Toronto Maple Leafs don't generate nearly as many chances off the rush as they did last season or relative to the other teams this season, as they rank 27th per game. However, because of their skill and structure, they are the most efficient team off the rush, as they have the highest shooting percentage in the league on rush chances. Now, most NHL teams generate offense off the rush by having their D-man jump up as a fourth forward to get a numbers advantage. The Leafs D-core isn't exactly built with smooth skating, puck movers, and offensive juggernauts, which is why they rank last in the league for goals by a defenseman. While the frequency of these rush plays aren't where they were last year, the Leafs D still have the green light to jump up while trimming the risk and allowing their best players to take over. Here, McCabe is going to activate as the D and be a breakout option for his center in Matthews. Instead of carrying the puck and risking a potential turnover with pressure coming at him, he's going to make a one-touch pass play to get the puck north to Nyes. McCabe takes a hit to make the play, stays in defensive posture, and the skill of Toronto can take over and do its thing off the rush. All Berube is asking his defensemen is to step up when necessary and choose their spots more accordingly. Because of this slight change, the Leafs are noticeably a better team defensively. Last season, they ranked 22nd in the NHL for goals against. This year, they ranked 12th. All three zones, there's more structure, and it starts in the neutral zone. Toronto wants teams to go through layers and stay to the perimeter when entering their blue line. Here, the Leafs are passive, but quickly sort out into a 1-2-2, create multiple layers, and use back pressure to force Nashville to the outside. Traffic creates a turnover, the Leafs get a rush chance with Marner and Matthews, and it leads to a goal. Even when the Leafs forecheck fails, the F3 is required to read the play, remain patient, and stay above the puck in the neutral zone. And what do you know on this play? It's Marner again defending the rush, and from solid structure, a turnover leads to a breakaway. With the speed of today's NHL, winning teams must be able to quickly sort out their assignments off the rush. Toronto is much improved in this area and when it comes to defending in their own zone. Over the last few years, we've seen teams move into this hybrid style of defense where it's zone coverage down low and man-on-man up high. Toronto is one of those teams, and their detail in their defensive structure also feeds into creating really quality chances on the transition. Take this play here below the goal line. The Leafs getting good structure with the box +1. The other D goes to support to retrieve the puck, and Domi as the center is going to hold the middle to create an outlet for his defenseman. Between the legs pass here might seem fancy and high risk, but solid communication and trust that everyone is in the right spot actually makes it the best play available. Toronto heads the other way, and because of how quickly the play is developing, Buffalo decides to pinch, and the Leafs are off to the races, which is another quality 3-on-1 chance, and they score. The details that Toronto plays with on these set breakouts and D-zone retrievals is the secret sauce to their highly efficient rush offense. By winning these 50-50 pucks along the wall or forcing offenses into traffic, they create turnovers for a potential spring on an odd man rush. However, what has truly stabilized Toronto is goaltending. If we're being honest, the Leafs' goaltending has been a circus for most years, but Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz have changed that. Stolarz specifically, despite being injured for a decent chunk of the season, is among the league leaders in save percentage, and when there has been a breakdown in Toronto's game, Stolarz has been there to cover up some of the ugliness. According to our friends at Sport Contract, Stolarz is well above average on lateral plays because at 6'6", his size and athleticism allows him to quickly cover net and get across on these types of plays. Overall, when you look at how the Leafs have changed their style, all signs point towards them playing a game that's more suitable for success in the playoffs. So far, their identity has changed, but the harsh truth is that none of it really matters until, well, it really matters. Winning the division will be crucial in a year where it looks like the Atlantic is filled with cold-blooded killers at the top. And even though this change has them on the doorstep to do just that, the same questions will linger around this team no matter what when it comes to playoff time. And if history repeats itself once again, there could be massive changes in Leafland at the end of the season.